Jackson, Dak Prescott set to face off for the first time in their careers. Get your popcorn ready, folks. Jackson, just the fourth reigning MVP quarterback to start and lose his team's first 2 games, while Dak and the Cowboys are seeking their first win against Baltimore since 2016. Neek, I cannot wait for this one. Does Dak or Lamar need to step up more on Sunday?
I think it's obvious that Dak has to step up more. Lamar is going to have more help, and the issues that were with the Ravens' offense seem to be with their O-line protecting him and a commitment to the run. The issues with the Cowboys is not even necessarily their offense, it's their defense getting destroyed early and putting that offense in a tough situation. So if you can expect them to give up a bunch of points and not be able to stop the run this week, which I do, then the pressure's all on Dak to be able to keep up with CeeDee Lamb and score points with him and Cook, those sorts of things. So the pressure is squarely on Dak to do more than Lamar's going to have to do.
I really wish I could say the Cowboys defense against the Ravens offense, but I think it's going to be Lamar. Because if you can't take advantage of this defense, geez. I mean, Derek Carr looked like Tom Brady.
To the point you're making earlier, though, the zone run scheme that the Ravens are running is not the same. As they saw the zone run scheme that the one that they saw with the Saints is the one that you want them to do with Derrick Henry, and that will be it's a little easier if the running back doesn't have a full head of steam and get your defensive line moving like that.
You know what? And that's what happens, Stephen A. You go look at somebody like, oh man, he's a great running back, but how's he going to fit? Are you going to use him? If you use Derrick Henry like Tennessee used Derrick Henry, now you can maximize him. But to put him in a zone read, I'm going to say Lamar because this defense, because not only did they run the ball, I mean, Derek Carr threw
bombed on him.
Derek Carr was completing 65, 70% of his passes. I think I'm going to say Lamar for the simple fact the Cowboys defense are so poor. They're so poor. If you can't take advantage of this situation, Stephen A., I don't know what you're going to do.
I'm going to sit up there. I'm not going to go with Lamar because I think they're going to hand the ball to Derrick Henry, and I think that he's going to be the offensive MVP for the Baltimore Ravens in this particular game. I'm going to say if the Dallas Cowboys are going to win, it would need to be Dak. I think more pressure on them. First of all, you can't rely on the running game.
They don't have a running game.
They don't have a running game, all right? So even though he's completed 80% of his passes in play action, the fact of the matter is how much you really going to fool the Baltimore Ravens with play action when we know you don't really want to give it to Ezekiel Elliott or Dallas or something like, you know. I mean, anybody trying to hear that? You're going to have to throw the football. And Dak Prescott, keep this in mind, since last season, when he's got the lead or he's tied, 26 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. When he's trailing, 12 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. So it's a precipitous drop-off when he's behind the 8 ball. If Baltimore puts them behind the 8 ball, Dak's going to have to find a way to step up because you ain't going to be able to rely on the running game to do it.
But that's what you need to do because they can't run the football. Their inability to run the football puts so much more pressure on Dak than it does your typical quarterback because they have no resemblance of a run game. And so now you're forcing Dak to have to throw the ball 40, 45 times a ball game because they're getting 1-2 yards, and that's not enough to threaten the defense. So there's never a reason for them to drop a safety down because they normally can handle that running game with a seven-man box.
The pressure and that stat you just used against Dak, that was dead wrong because I'm sure everybody, is worse when they're down because they know that
I'm not saying that he's the only one that's worse. I'm just saying he's flagrantly worse. He's flagrantly worse. That's what I'm trying to say.
Leave that man alone. So the one thing that I know Dak's going to be or feel a lot of pressure is once he gives the ball up, he don't know when he's going to give it back, and he don't know what the scoreboard going to say when he does get it back.
Right.
He knows it's going to be a wild, and that's a lot of pressure to know that these first 3 possessions, I better score 3 touchdowns. Because if I don't, I might be down 18.
Because if the Ravens play like we know the Ravens can play, if the Ravens get the ball first, when Dak touches the field, it's down 7-0. And so now it's so much pressure on him because the same thing happened in Green Bay. Same thing happened with the 49ers. Dak came on the field, they're down 7-0. He goes 3 and out, he gets the ball back, it's 14-0. And now all of a sudden you put him in a situation, I've taken you out of the run. First of all, you can't run to begin with. And now you're down 14-0. I know good and well you're not going to even attempt to run the football. So now I'm just going to play coverage, and I'm going to bait Dak into a situation like Honeyback to pick them off last.
And that's what happened in the playoffs last year. They get behind early by a lot, and they can't stop the bleeding on defense, and they can't score with every single team they play against.
So Aaron Rodgers, Stephen A. said it could be a Super Bowl. I thought that was a little aggressive. Where are you?
I said AFC Championship, but go ahead.
No, you said Super Bowl.
I said Super Bowl contender.
Well,
Shannon.
You said Super Bowl contender.
Thank you.
Thanks,
but he did say AFC Championship.
Yeah, but he said Super Bowl, Shannon. Don't lie.
Stephen A. ain't wrong. I agree with him. I think that there's obviously other issues on this team. But what it comes down to is the formula that we thought was going to work with this team was their great defense, and we don't need Aaron Rodgers to be great. And their defense showed up last night. So if Aaron
Against
Rodgers,
the Patriots?
it's an NFL football team.
Don't do
and
that.
They beat the Bengals.
No. The problem in week 1, why I was not respecting them as a Super Bowl contender, is their defense didn't play well. They dominated that game. They had 1 turnover. Normally when you get a game where you blow a team out like that, they've turned the ball over and over again. That team just dominated without C.J. Mosley. So I get it. It's the Patriots. It's Jacoby Brissett. But you got to start somewhere. And Aaron Rodgers, I think there's so much pressure on him. Their offense is not designed to give him easy looks. There's so many tight window throws. And he hit him yesterday. If he's going to hit him, it takes pressure off the defense. So I do think that they can be competitive, especially when you look around the rest of the AFC.
And what Molly
ain't nobody dominant out there
What
right
Molly is leaving out
Oh, here we go.
the caveat to the question was, if Aaron Rodgers looks the
like
way
that,
he looked like last night, what then?
Yeah.
And I stand by that.
I mean, is that what I just said, or is that what I just said?
No.
You want to check the paper when
No.
it's that version
What's
of
the
Rodgers?
Jets ceiling with that version of
Rodgers.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
just checking.
okay.
But-
I'm just checking.
Don't get sensitive on me. You
let me
can
ask you a
handle it. You can take it.
All right.
Can I ask Fox a question?
Here
Yeah,
we
go for it.
What was their ceiling after the opening Monday night loss against the 49ers?
The ceiling was.
The ceiling was the basement.
Their ceiling was.
was
Let's
not the roof.
have a good
The
season,
ceiling
guys.
was not the roof.
Let's have a good season. Let's stay healthy.
Let's have a good
time. But yeah,
You know what? If you're right, if Aaron Rodgers, because they're not asking him to be MVP Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
Just don't put the ball in harm's way like the quarterbacks we had in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
Defense, we need you to dominate. Now, I don't know if they're going to face very many anemic offenses like the Patriots trotted out there last night.
that was
They're-
tough. But the Patriots defense is absolutely great. And they play well against that defense. They have these 2 running backs that are real physical. Like this team, we keep talking about Aaron Rodgers, and we should because he made some great throws. But the point is this team has a great defense and a great running attack, and you're only going to ask Aaron Rodgers to be great every now and then.
Right.
If that's what you want from him, then this team could win a championship, and there's nobody in the AFC that seems unbeatable right
Well,
now.
maybe play like, you know what?
Not even him.
And I could do a lot of
Not
things.
even him.
Maybe if
Not
they
even
play,
him.
remember like the 2009 and 10 when the Jets went,
Yep.
they had that outstanding defense.
Yeah.
Mark Sanchez,
Yeah.
Sanchez hand the ball.
Hey.
Like,
Let's do an audible. Let's do a do-over. If you guys were going to make your Super Bowl picks now after 2 weeks in,
I ain't
who
picking
would
the
you
Jets.
go with?
I ain't picking
Oh,
the
no,
Jets.
who would you go with?
I mean, right now, I think I'd go with the Saints.
Saints? Who, Saints,
I go with the
Chiefs?
Saints. Yeah. I still stick with the Chiefs.
Would
But
you
the
stay
Chiefs
with
got
yours?
those.
I'd still stick with the Chiefs, but right now, the Saints look better than anybody in the NFC.
We always have a good time on this show, and we are having a tremendous time right now at Howard University, part of our HBCU tour. And guys, we got some football games this weekend, a full slate. Let's get into the keys of these games. And Shannon, I'll start with you. When we look at the Eagles at Saints, incredible NFC matchup. Saints are favored by 2.5. What do you think's the key to this game, Shay?
I think the Saints' ability on offense to do multiple things. They can run the football, they can throw. Obviously, they play action off of that. I still don't trust the Eagles' defense. I'll be willing to give the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm going to take the Saints in the 2.5 that they're giving up. I think they're going to cover that easy.
I think so as well. I think that the Saints are just a better team right now. I think the Eagles got a lot of problems to fix, and I don't think to expect them to fix it now on the road in New Orleans, I can't see it.
Who's the most important player in this matchup?
To me, Alvin Kamara. I mean, if he's effective the way that he was last week, the Eagles have no chance.
Well, yeah, I'm going to look on the defensive side of the football, Stephen A. You got to take one of those. Jalen Carter is now or never. They brought you in. Fletcher Cox retired. You guys have to shut down, starting with you, because I believe you are the best player on the defensive side of the football. You need to be dominant. You have that kind of ability. He needs to take this game over.
All right, let's get into the Chiefs and the Falcons. And Shannon, I know you have a lot of love for Atlanta. After that primetime game, everybody wrote them off, and now we're looking at the Falcons here. What's the key to this one?
I'm going to take, you know what? I think the Chiefs will win, but I think the Falcons are going to cover. They're better than you think. They really are. They can run. I love Bijan Robinson. They got weapons on the outside, Drake London, Mooney. They got Kyle Pitts. They can run the football with Algier and Robinson. And the defense is a little underrated because I think the thing is that when you look at Kansas City, their left tackle got benched. And you remember last year, Stephen, early in the season, they had offensive line issues. They lose Pacheco. Now, obviously, they signed Kareem Hunt. Are they going to be able to run the football? Because over the last 6.5 games of last year into the playoffs and starting this year, they have become more of a running football team to alleviate some of the pressure on Patrick Mahomes and take some of that pressure off the offensive line. I think the Falcons cover, but I'm taking the Chiefs to win.
I'm going to pick the Falcons to win. I think Bijan Robinson's going to have a big game. I think Kirk Cousins got that win under his belt. They're on their home turf. The Chiefs are ailing right now from a health perspective. I think if there was ever a weekend when the Kansas City Chiefs are vulnerable, it'll be this weekend. And I think the Atlanta Falcons still won.
All right, S.A., Ravens at Cowboys. What do you think is the key to this game and the most important player?
I think that, Derrick Henry, you're the Ravens, you hand him the football. If you can't run on the Cowboys, just give up the damn running game because these guys let you run all over them. You should be able to handle your business if you're the Baltimore Ravens. You should go into Dallas and you should run roughshod over them, accumulate 180 to about 200 yards on the ground. That's what I think is going to happen to the Cowboys in this game, and that's why I think the Ravens are going to win.
I like the Ravens also, but I think Lamar Jackson's going to have a big game running the football. I think Lamar Jackson's going to get outside. He's going to use his legs. He says, he's healthy. I expect Lamar Jackson to have 100-plus yards running the football, and they dominate the Cowboys. I like the Ravens on the road.